you don't.
1 + 1 is 2. 2 + 2 is 4. Back to the verse 3. I'm expensive and no be free. Mr. Legbegbe, come to the center fún Legbegbe. Kalomo yẹn tó dúró Legbegbe. Tó fẹ́ Ferrari ya tó fẹ́ kẹ̀kẹ́.
Take what you like, I get the ego. Tell all your friends I know they lago. They're feeling the boy, well. Papa they bless me well. I go to be yo. I get fans oh.
Welcome to Free Touch Show, where your opinion matters to us. It's all about African culture and its heritage. And my name is Omobade Soji. Today, we find ourselves somewhere in South Africa. And with me is the director of Media African Studio. Am I correct?
Yeah, Media Africa Studios.
Oh, wow. You're welcome. Please, for our audience watching you back home, could you tell us your name?
My name is Ernest Fosu. I'm a Ghanaian and the director of Media Africa Studios.
What can you tell us about Media African Studios?
Media Africa Studios is a production company. We do movies, documentaries, events, anything audiovisual. That's basically what we do, yeah.
For how long have you been into this?
I started professionally 2005. But before that, I was doing it on the side.
That's nice. And talking about you doing this in South Africa, how do you find it not in Ghana but in South Africa?
Well, I actually started from Ghana. I was working for a company called Movie Africa. Okay. That was where I got my name Media Africa from. Okay. I was working with Movie Africa. That was where I had my official training in editing. Okay. And then I came to South Africa to enhance my education in filmmaking. So before I could finish with my education, I got employed in the school to teach practicals because I was way ahead of my students, and sometimes I could even help the teacher or the lecturer teaching. So they saw the effort I was making in the school, and so therefore before I could finish my course, they actually employed me to be a practical teacher.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's nice.
So I was the one handling the practical side of my own class. Okay. And then when it comes to theory, the actual teacher would take. Yeah.
Wow, that's nice. How were you able to discover yourself?
Well, you don't discover yourself. You know your capabilities and your abilities. Okay. So you just run along with what you have in mind. So for me, before I got into South Africa, I was actually doing it already. Okay. So I wanted new to me. Yeah. Wow. And ever since I came to South Africa, I've been trying to enhance my certificate in the film industry. But the sad thing is that I've tried a couple of schools, and when I go there, when they look at my CV and what I do, it's almost like I'm overqualified to be a student. So some of them even ask me to drop a CV so that I could rather lecture instead of being a student. So as time went on, I'm like, okay, why don't I even register my own company and start doing things on my own? So that was how. Yes.
Talking about Ghanaian Music Award in South Africa, what brought about that concept? Have you been in search of that for long, or it just came overnight?
Well, the funny thing about Ghana Music Awards is that my company is not only based on filmmaking. Okay. We do a whole lot of things when it comes to entertainment. Okay. So we were producing for Mnet. Most of our movies play on Mnet. And then a few times down the line, there was an event here called Miss Ghana. And the organizers of Miss Ghana approached me to give them media sponsorship. Okay. So I was doing all their video promos, all their event promos. So from that event, one artist came from Ghana who came to perform. And out of discussion, he suggested, why don't we do something like Ghana Music Awards? Okay. And I told him, well, I've had the idea for the past 3 years. Okay. And I've been nurturing the idea. So I want the clear time where I can execute the idea, because if you have an idea and you don't nurture it and you just put it out there, somebody might just take the idea. So I needed the right timing to execute the whole idea. So it took me 3 years to build up on it. So when the time was right, I called a few friends who are into other departments. I have a friend who is into promotions. His name is Fred Abiadom. He's from Black Eagle Productions. So I called him and I told him about the idea that, look, I know you're a promoter. You promote a lot of events and people. So I have this idea and you are a promoter. So I want us to team up, bring what you know, I bring what I know, we put it together. Yeah, so from there, we called another guy who's a website developer. We also nurtured the idea to him. He also came on board with his ideas when it comes to web developing and other things. So it is not just something that I came up with. When we got the idea, we brought it together as a team. So everybody brought in their 2 cents and then we put it together, and that was how we were able to get there.
Basically, it's a teamwork.
It's a teamwork.
Fine. Now, talking about this award, what are the categories you're having in this award, and what are South Africans and Ghanaians especially going to benefit from this?
Look, if this is not Ghana, this is not West Africa, this is South Africa. So if you even look around, you see that there's a lot of people who come here to even come and view around. That is the tourist. A lot of tourists come here to come and see what is here. So if I am fortunate to be living here, then I also have the advantage to show the South Africans what I have. So to me, I am trying to sell my Ghanaian songs to the South Africans here.
Wow.
Because there are so many places you go, they play Ghanaian songs and nobody even dances to it because they don't know the song. And there are some Ghanaians here who are doing music, but because the Ghanaian songs are not famous here, it's like their career and their talent is hidden. So I saw the advantage of how we can be able to push our Ghanaian songs to the South Africans, because when you look at the songs that are being played here, it's strictly South African songs. And when it comes to foreign songs, I'm happy to say that the Nigerians, they've dominated the South African music industry, and Ghanaians are lacking behind. So I felt like, okay, if we can also find something that we can do to bring in the Ghanaian music into the South African market, we can be able to sell our culture, we can be able to sell the type of music we do in Ghana, and then we can be able to tell South Africans that, look, there's a country called Ghana, and this is the type of songs we do. South Africans do songs like Kwaito, they do songs like house music, they've got different types of songs and genres. So is Ghana. Ghana, we have high life, we've got hip life, we've got different genres. So when we do this thing, we tell people that, look, we also have a genre that is called hip life or high life. By so doing, we tell people our culture and what we do. Some of the categories of the award scheme has to do with discovering new artists. We also have a category for people who are doing different genre of music. And we've also nominated some South Africans. So we have a whole lot of categories. We have international categories where we nominate artists from West Africa, which is Nigeria. And then we have another category for East Africa. And it comprises of the countries from the East. Eddie Kenzo, some guys from the eastern side, and then we have another category which is international act Southern Africa, which comprises of Zimbabwe, Lesotho, South Africa itself, and then a few surrounding countries. So the categories, we have something to cover everything. So Ghana Music Awards is not just only for Ghanaians alone.
What about the traditional part of it?
We have category for traditional, like, you know, the funny thing, people who make music, when you go to the recording studios, there are people who play live instruments, and they never get to be recognized in any music awards. So even with this awards, we have categories for people who even do jazz music. So we have a whole lot of categories that is covering everybody who is doing music.
Okay. For those who are interested to participate, is there any link, or how do they get to key into this program?
Okay. We first of all advertise that people must submit their content. So if you are a musician or you play instrument or whatever you do, we were doing what you call it, submissions. So we gave out a link on the website and people submitted their content. After that, we went through the vetting process where we checked which songs was qualified for which category, and then we came out with the nominations. At the moment, we are on the voting process, which started on the 1st of September. So after the voting process, we will go straight to the event where we will announce the winners on the day of the event. Yeah.
What should we be expecting come on the 3rd of November?
Well, 3rd of November is the actual date for the Ghana Music Awards, and it's the first of its kind, and I do not want to oversell the show, because you might end up overselling the show and then you get to the show and then it's under delivered. So what I will say is that this is the first edition and we are going to do whatever it takes to make sure the show is a success. So we are not competing with anyone, and because there is no bar that has been set, because this is the first time, whatever we do now is going to be the bar. So what we have to do is to just make sure that people come there, their security should be a priority, because you cannot have an event where people come and then they start losing things or there's no security, so a lot of chaos will be happening. So what we are going to do is that we have to make sure there's enough security and there's a lot of fun. At the end of the day, we are trying to sell Ghanaian music, not to cause chaos.
Not just Ghanaian music, but Africa as a whole.
Thank you.
Money they handy no the bank. Come on, I don't waste my time. Oh my lot I don't like bola. Oh man knock you lost at the Cubana. Sin, sir. Come and be my vibe. Come and to tap OCD. Why I say?